Joining us now is indeed former Manhattan Assistant District Attorney Catherine Christian, former prosecutor Charles Coleman, and Eddie Glaude, a professor at Princeton University. So, Catherine, your takeaways from this really interesting day.
Interesting day. My takeaway, and it could be wrong, is 5-4, meaning four of the justices, Sotomayor, Jackson, Barrett, maybe Barrett, and Kagan, seem to be, there's no absolute immunity for official acts. And what Jackson ended with, which I thought was great, because she was like, wait a minute, the position of the Trump lawyers is they don't want us to make a distinction between private and official acts, which some of the other justices were saying, which means it gets remanded for a hearing. Their position is absolute immunity. They're not telling us to make a distinction. Right. So they're saying absolute immunity for official acts. Isn't that true? Basically, because Jackson is trying to bring it back to, no, we're not going to have a hearing on this. So, and you had Roberts, who basically was concerned that the lower court said he's being prosecuted, so therefore the prosecution is just. And you had the concern of Kavanaugh and Alito, that the future former presidents could be targeted by their political opponents. So you sort of saw that lineup. That doesn't mean that's how it's going to happen, but that's clearly from the questions.
Charles, what was your key takeaway here? What stood out to you from the questions and answers?
I had a few. One of the things that I thought was interesting, to pick up where Catherine left off, was this framing around the notion of private acts versus official acts and why that became such a big issue for Donald Trump's defense team. I actually wonder whether now they might have thought to argue about qualified immunity as opposed to absolute immunity, because given the framing of some of the questions from the justices, it may have boded better for them to do so in terms of creating that distinction. I think that when you're looking at the questions that were asked by Judge Gorsuch as well as Judge Alito, it's very clear that there is clearly a faction on the bench that wants to create a space that allows this argument to breathe further, or at least them to kick it back down and allow that to be dealt with at a lower court. If you're looking in other directions, there are clearly justices like Judge Jackson who really want to try and make this as narrow as possible. This was lawyering at the highest of levels, and I just want to remind everyone out there, the Supreme Court is not right because they're not last because they're always right. They're right because they're always last. And what I mean by that is whatever results from this is something that we will all have to live with, but it should be in no indication that this was the perfect decision. But it's going to be interesting to see how it shapes.
You know, Eddie, it was interesting that one of the magistrates said exactly that. He said that you're asking us to talk about and decide things for the ages. Right. And I think it's kind of always interesting to bring it back to that these decisions will have eternal repercussions.
Right. I kept wanting to pan out. I'll defer to the lawyers. They know the law and the particulars. I kept thinking about the scale of what we're witnessing.
Yeah.
We're talking about the scope of presidential power. We're talking about the nature of separation of powers. We're at the heart of American democracy right now. So we're watching this, and it's high drama. But it's also happening against the backdrop of protest all throughout the country. The first time we've ever seen a president in a courthouse, right, held. So this is really American democracy in the balance, right? And so I'm really interested in what the lawyers say, but as an American, I'm trying to figure out what my gut is saying. Where are we as a country in this moment?
And I think that when you're talking about some of the questions that were asked, particularly toward the end, the justices really understand. I mean, this is part of their job. They know that not only with respect to the gravity of their rulings, but then also the sustainability of the rules that they create, they know how monumental this moment is. And they also probed as deeply as they did because I believe it was either Judge Alito or Gorsuch who talked about we have to test the limits of everyone's argument, meaning that this has to be something that stands one way or the other. So it's important to not necessarily read too much into what the justices may ask, because whether you're a conservative leaning justice or a liberal one, you have to make sure that however you come down on this is something that's going to stand up over the test of time.